Welcome to Beating All the Odds. I'm your host, Coach Serena Brooks, and today we got the Bass. Am I saying
Yes,
it correctly? Okay,
absolutely.
Brian and Ashanti Bass, I thank you all for coming. I thank you all for sharing your story with us. So today we will be talking about your son. Today is his anniversary, am I correct?
Yep, today has been 8 years since he passed
Got you, got you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started and start talking, okay?
away.
Okay. Can you share a little about your son and what made him special to you?
So, um, Jay was very giving. He was always the one who did for others. Um, he helped people to a fault. He was, if somebody needed something, he would take care of it. I remember thinking about a time when he was giving money to people, and I said, they're using you. Like, I don't think, they really, are a person in need. And he said, well, you taught me that it's not my job to tells me to do. And so he was just an all around good person. That's who he was at heart. That's who he was at heart.
Do you want to add on to it, Brian?
I guess really what made him special to me the most kind of goes back to like my father passed when my mom was 6 months pregnant with him, and he wanted a son real bad, and so I never grew up with my father. So having Jamal, having Jay was really, it really did it for me because, I had my son. And, I made a promise that he would never have to grow up without his father, in any shape, form, or fashion. So I was going to be there. So, I even remember after we came home from the hospital, after he was born, every month on his birthday, we would ride around and we would just talk. And he like a month, 2 months, 3 months old, and we just talked, and so he was special to me because he was my firstborn son.
All right. What do you remember most about him that brings a smile to your faces?
His smile, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he had an infectious smile.
I will never forget his voice.
Mhm.
I I have videos, which is great to be able to look back and say, oh, that was Jay. I can hear him talking. But like now, even when somebody does something, if somebody does something crazy, and I'm like, Jay would say, and I hear it in his voice. So I can hear that voice.
Yeah, I heard him coming in now.
Okay, so can you tell us what life was like for your family before the accident?
Um,
See, he was um, staying with me.
because I put him out.
Just about.
Hey.
So I guess it was a little different because he was staying with me, and I was coming home and seeing him and interacting with him on almost a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
So, but he would go to work and come home from work and go on about his day. But life was normal
Yeah.
for, I guess, our normal, with it being me and him in the house. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, so what was the most difficult part of those first days, the
Oh.
weeks after the accident?
So I think the most difficult thing was just the whole experience was difficult. It was I remember being at the hospital, and I remember saying to Brian, what if his healing doesn't look like what we expect it to look like? And I remember Brian saying, oh, it's fine, like he might have to go through some physical therapy or something, but yeah, he said, I understand that, and I was like, he is wasn't ready to receive that. So I think because we weren't together, we experienced that healing in different places.
Yes.
But because we were friends,
Uh-huh.
we did talk to each other to the point of one time I said to Brian, I said, you need to talk to somebody. And I recommended a counselor, Crystal Lloyd. I recommended her. That's not her name. McIver. Very good. But I was like, you need, reach out to her and see if you can talk to her, because he had tried another counselor,
Yes.
yeah, or a therapist, and that. You remember the lady? You only talked to her like twice.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Okay.
So, but to talk to someone who has insight onto what you're going through, and those conversations help. So that would be my thing, telling people you have to talk.
Yes.
Like, it's real easy to pretend that nothing has happened and try to go on like it's everyday life, but it's not the same. It's not the same, and it's hard to remember that you're not the only one going through it. I'm guilty of thinking we lost our son without factoring in that our other son lost his brother. And so he had known him his whole life. We knew Jay's whole life,
Yes.
but Jordan knew Jay his whole life. And so I'm guilty of thinking as a parent how it felt without thinking how it affected everybody else in the family. Jay was the first on my side of the family. He was the first nephew. He was the first, he was the first boy. He was the first, he was the first boy grandson. And in that generation of the second cousins,
Mhm.
he was the first. And so he was everybody's baby. And so, yeah.
There wasn't like different groups that you all could go to. Some people want to go to group settings, to talk about those people. They didn't have nothing like that for.
So they didn't
you all
have
region?
anything, I think, local.
I don't know of anything. I mean,
I do think there's some things now, though. So, I mean, and I don't even know that it was that they didn't have them. I don't think that's what we were seeking out.
Gotcha.
I remember
No,
there
I don't.
being, I think for a long time we were in denial about even needing to talk to somebody. And I'm aware that people process in different ways.
Yes.
So I never want to throw what I think somebody should be doing. I would never say this is where you should be right now.
Yeah.
But I notice when there's not progress, like when you're not moving and you're stuck in that same place, there should be some type of progress after a period of time. What that period of time is, it comes and it goes.
it was, and I guess it was really different for me because, like I said, he was staying with me,
Yes.
so I was used to seeing it and hearing him come in the house. So coming home every day and looking in the living room and he's not there, or looking in his bedroom and he's not there, or hearing something in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Jay coming home, then he ain't coming home. So that part was different for me. It was hard. I started talking to the one lady, the counselor, my therapist. But 3 weeks after Jay passed, my sister passed. So, that kind of, I stopped, didn't talk to her no more, and it probably took me a year, almost 2 years,
A year?
Before- before I actually called Crystal and started talking to her. So,
I can say for myself, it took me a while, especially when my mom passed,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I was just in high school because I didn't understand.
right.
So it's like it took me 10 years
Yeah.
because I couldn't believe it. Or I was just for me, I was mad at God. That's who
Right.
I was mad at. I really
Right.
was.
Right.
But that was my mom.
Because I prayed.
Yeah.
I prayed
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you
yeah.
to
Yeah.
heal this
Mm.
person.
That's it.
And
That's
you
it.
didn't. But when I think about it,
Yeah.
when I think about the goodness of
That's
Jesus,
it.
I
That's
know that I couldn't have made it through without him. But I also know that he sees and knows better than we do. And
Yeah, and that was a focal point for me at the hospital was, you know, we know a lot of ministers and pastors and people who have a deep-rooted faith in God. And, you know, they came to the hospital and over the phone and, you know, everybody was praying and praying and praying. And one pastor is like a brother to me. He prayed, and his prayer was different. And his prayer was for God's will to be done, not to necessarily bring Jay home, you know, like we wanted him to be home. And it didn't resonate with me until later that that's what it was. And so, you know, it was difficult. And then, you know, to Sean's point, the other thing that people have to realize is that people grieve differently.
That's it. That part.
And, you know, and I tell people this all the time. We lost the same child, same day, the exact same way.
That's it.
You know, he was our son.
Mm-hmm.
But she had a relationship with him. I had a different relationship with him. So our levels of grief were different, even though it was the same child. So you can't expect, you know, the same people to go through, you know, the same kind of grieving process.
And I think that's a big thing. I think people mean well when they say, I know exactly how you feel. Or that's like that's a big one. But that was like I'd be like, okay. Like do you? Because even in December 2016, I lost my mom. February, Brian lost his mom.
Yes.
Jay passed away in September. It was 2017, so like it was like it was 18 months of like crazy.
Yeah.
Like they lost the only grandparents they ever knew in an 18-month period. It was even because Harry passed away like September. It was then the dog that they grew up with. Like, you know, it's like stuff that people don't think about.
Yeah.
But I think it's important. Like even when I think about when we lost my mom, it was me and my two sisters. I don't talk to nobody every day. Well, I talk to you every day. But I don't. I'm like me and my sisters. We might, you know, we'll text. Like we have group text. Mama, we would be in a group text, but we all lost the same mom.
That's it.
But it was a different experience for each of us. So even when somebody says, I lost my mom, I can't say, oh, I know exactly what you feel, because I don't. I don't know what you went through. I don't know what's inside of you. And I know that what I do know is that it's different for everybody.
That's so true. That is true. Were there a moment you felt like you wouldn't make it through?
For me, yeah, definitely.
All the moments.
Definitely.
For
I think I was very close to being suicidal. So.
And I think when you're in that situation and you lose that child, like for a long time, Jay was our only child. Yeah, and so it was when I say he was everybody's baby, he was our baby for that time. And so when I think about it, those moments were hard. They were hard, but the thing that we knew, like separately and together, was that we have Jordan. Like we have Jay's Jordan. So we have Jordan, we have Jay. There was no way that we could give it all up. We had to find a way to get through it because we had to.
Yeah, that was my, I guess, one of the biggest things that kept me was, I said to myself, pain is great, but it would be a real punk way to go out by inflicting more pain on the people you're going to leave behind that I would leave behind, trying to escape from my own pain. So now I'm going to put my son through some more stuff, put my granddaughter through some more stuff. And I would rather go through it than to, put them through more.
You need a vote?
I need some tissue. You ain't gonna put it down?
I do.
I don't know how to cut and edit, but we can pause it or stop it there. So, who or what became your source of strength during this time?
God. I mean, there's like no doubt there was a period where I couldn't pray for myself. Because it was, I wouldn't say it was anger, but it was like I had nothing left. Like I had I didn't have any tears to give. I can say for a long time, I don't cry like I used to cry about everything. I don't even have any tears. Even now, I'll cry sometimes. Brown's, I'll be like, oh, I thought you didn't cry. So
She was a waterhead.
yeah, I was like
She
a
cried over
complete
everything.
waterhead, and
And
now
I wouldn't cry about nothing.
Yeah.
we're the opposite.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Now I can't look at a TV show without she look. Are you crying? No, I can't. A movie, I'ma cry. I mean, it's crazy.
Yes,
I mean, God is. And it's funny because somebody told me well before this happened. They said, you need to strengthen your relationship with God. I was like, okay. Your faith going to be put to the test. You need to strengthen your relationship with God. And, I heard it. I didn't really focus on it real hard. And then when this happened, it was like, this is what they meant. Because honestly, I was angry. I think it took me close to about a month before I could pray again. I don't know. I won't feel it. I won't feel in God. I won't feel in church. I won't feel in nothing but anger. So, but eventually it came through.
So what role did faith, family, community play in the healing journey?
So I say this thing all the time. I do for people. I do for people all the time. Like regardless if you lose somebody, I'm probably gonna be at your house taking your trash to the dump because ain't nobody thinking about it. If I'm probably answering the phone and telling people to leave your house at 9 o'clock because ain't nobody got no business at your house all night long. I'm that person. What I learned is that when you are going through yourself, the people that you help won't necessarily be the ones that come to help you, but God will send the help your way.
Yeah.
So you're going to be taken care of. And so once I realized everything that I had been for somebody else, somebody has stepped in to be that for me. When we talk about leaning on people, we got the call about Jay on, I want to say it was a Wednesday. Tuesday night, and then Wednesday morning we were at the hospital. Before we laid our head down Wednesday, my sister had flown in from Kansas, and my other sister was here from Houston. They were here before we went to sleep that night. Like they were here. They stayed at the hospital with us the whole time. Every night. Like I was like, they got the Ronald McDonald house, we can get y'all a room. Like, are you going to a room? We not leaving here unless you leave. Once Jay passed, they took care of funeral arrangements. They took care of, we knew that we wanted to remember Jay the way we remembered him. We knew we didn't want to see him in a casket. We knew that. And those were things they went to the funeral home to make sure everything was in order. They took the clothes, like, we gave our help and opinions on how we wanted things to be. They made sure that everything was in order. Community, the same way. I remember class of 92 always come through for me. So I remember distinctively one of my best friends, Roxy, put out the word, like, we're gonna cover the spray for the casket. We're gonna take care of that, and they took care of that. It was stuff that I'd have never even had on my mind to think about. I didn't have to do any of that. So thank God I never had to go pick out a casket. I never had to take care of a program like they did the program for us, the obituary. They took care of all of it. And so to have them to lean on, I do remember the night, everything, after the ceremony, after the service, afterwards, I remember coming home. My friend Deidre was here, and my sisters had finally, and it wasn't the same night, but my sisters had flown out and gone home, and Deidre was here. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna finally have my house to myself. I gotta get used to, being here, no noise. And Deidre was there, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go to sleep. And she said, I'm not leaving. And I was like, oh no, you have to go. She said, I have to get permission. So my sisters had done tapped into her, like, make sure that she's not alone if she don't have to be alone. And so she called them and got permission for me to stay home by myself. And I just needed to get back to some semblance of normal. I needed to find out what the new normal was. And even though Jay was, this is really good. Jay was living with Brian, but he had been at my house for like 2 or 3 days, and he had been there.
He came home that Thursday. He watched Georgia play that Thursday night. No, that Friday night. Friday night. And then stayed with Jay. With Jay. Him and Jay, they stayed on my couch for 2 days straight, looking at movies and eating ice cream.
That was like the week before.
Yeah. That was that Sunday. They came over because Dee and them was here.
Yes.
And they came. He came over here that Sunday night, or that Sunday night or that Monday, something like that.
Naja was here.
Naja was here,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because Harry had passed away. So it's funny. Naja is my stepsister, and her blood nephews were like, but I'm the oldest, and she was like, no, Jay's the oldest. Like Jay was always Jay first. Yeah. Jay was it. Yeah. But community has been huge.
I mean, even while we were in the hospital, there was a lady in the hospital that I knew from a friend of mine. Yeah, he's still a friend of mine. A friend of mine, and she worked up there, and she saw us. She nobody told her we were there, but she walked by and she saw us. And that woman checked in every day that we were there. She brought us breakfast every day. She made sure we had lunch every day. Every single day. And if she didn't work that day, which I think was just one day that she didn't work, she made somebody else came in there and took care of us. Jordan had a game that Friday night, the following Friday night. And of course I was at the hospital, and this is the only game that I ever missed since he started playing football at 9. Yeah. And my best friend Randall went to the game, came back, picked him up, made sure he stayed with him, during that week. And because Jordan was like, I'm going to play, because Jay would want me to play. Yeah. So Randall took care of Jordan. The lady I was dating at the time, she came and she was there every day, and I don't know how much gas that child.
She did so much that I told her to stop. I said, Christine, don't you spend now another dime. She was instrumental. She really was. Yeah.
Back and forth at the houses, with this house, that house, back to the hospital, back home. I mean, she just ran back and forth. Um, and even after we came home,
Yeah.
there were people that you would expect to hear from.
Yeah.
But then there was one person, I ain't gonna call his name,
Mhm.
but me and that man probably hadn't talked in 5, 6 years. And that man called me every day just to chill.
Yeah.
And Randall would not leave me alone. That he came 8 o'clock every morning for 2 weeks straight and picked me up. You not staying in this house. You coming with me. 2 weeks every day. He came and picked me up, took me somewhere. And we would stay out all day. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I just want to go home. I want to go home. I want to grieve. I want to cry.
But then I don't want to.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
he was like, nah, you ain't ready to do that. For 2 weeks, he came and picked me up every day. So there was family, there was community, and you know, like Sean said, sometimes that community doesn't show up the way you think it's going to show up. It's from other sources, sources that you would have never thought.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Did I expect Randall to be there? Yeah, he's my best friend. But did I expect him to go all out the way he did for 2 weeks? I didn't. And you know, so many other people. So yeah, community and family, they show up, but they show up in different realms, different faces.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is called beating all the odds. Okay, so many families struggle to survive a loss. Like, what helped you beat all the odds, just to keep going?
Hope. Hope in, when you see other people that have experienced similar things and you see them survive it, if you have hope that it could happen. I remember very distinctively, I read an article, and I don't know if it was, I don't even know where it was. I would love to credit the person who wrote it, but they talked about how you'll cry every day for a period of time. And then you'll wake up one day and you'll realize that you didn't cry the day before. And you'll feel guilty about it.
Mhm.
And so then, you might cry for another few days, but then the times that you cry will be further and further apart. And eventually you'll get to the point where you can smile about this. When you're thinking about this person, it's not that you're always focused on the loss. You can think about the good times. You can focus on that. But the thing was, you won't even know when it happened. Like when the shift happens, you won't even know when it happens. You'll just wake up and realize that you have gone to a different place. I think that's a big thing. Just knowing that it was coming. Like I never expected it to be like for it to feel better. I never expected it, like people would say it's gonna get better. It's not gonna get better. It's gonna become bearable. And so and I'm okay with that. And so I know he's not gonna home. I know that. But I also know that now I've learned to live with the fact that he's not home, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I think I didn't get it until I started talking to Kristen. She got me through. That was and I think the biggest thing that I remember is her saying, you control your thoughts. Your thoughts control your emotions. So if you can control your thoughts and you can think about the good times, things that made you smile, things that made you happy about Jay, then you can control your emotions about Jay. Because I would get to the point, I would be having a fine day, be okay, and one thought, and it could be riding up Horner Boulevard, and he used to work at Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
And I ride by and I see that Sonic, and boom, it'll throw me into a tailspin. Now I am done for the rest of the day. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to deal with nobody. And if you mess with me, I'm going to bite your head off. And it was terrible. So talking to her really helped me get over that hump.
What lessons have you learned about love, life, resilience through this tragedy?
You don't take nothing for granted. Nothing. Not a day, not a minute, not a second. Take nothing for granted. Because that night that he went, that Tuesday night? Yeah. I just got off the phone with him maybe an hour or two before.
Yeah, and I didn't talk to him.
And he said he went and got something to eat, and we got off the phone. He was like, yeah. He said, all right, love you, Daddy. I was like, love you too, son. Thinking that day he'd be home later that night. But, that later never came. So, I don't take no time for that. No.
Yeah. I think the biggest lesson for me is wrapped into the same package. You don't take anything for granted, but also to make sure that you make memories, like that you intentionally make memories. I remember my biggest life lesson, I think. I was a photographer. Right after my mom passed away, it was, it's like I had started dabbling in photography. In October, I had shot my first wedding in 2016. And I remember when my mom passed away, I went looking for pictures. That was in December. Brian's mom passed away, we went looking for pictures. Never once did it, it's like, okay, so we had both lost parents in a very short period of time. But then, following that, we lost Jay. And I was in the same situation, looking for pictures. Now, the lesson for me was for people who look like me to have images so that when they're gone, because tomorrow's not promised. Like, we're not going to get out of this alive. So when tomorrow comes and we're not here, there's something left for the people that we leave behind. Because, memories matter. And I try to remember everything about Jay. And I tell people all the time, tell me stories about my child. Like, tell me stories about him. Don't feel like, I might feel some type of way, or, I might not want to, and we'll catch people sometimes, they'll be reserved, like they don't want to talk about it because they don't know if we want to talk about it. I always want to talk about Jay. So it makes me happy when I will never forget, there was a lady who had worked with him at one of the local plants. He had trained her, and she was like our age or older, and but he was there first, and he trained her. And she didn't realize that he had passed away, but when she did, she said, "I got a story to tell you." And so when she was telling me, she was like, he was so respectful. It was always yes ma'am this. It was always yes ma'am no ma'am. He was patient with me when he trained me on this machine on how to, and I can't even remember. I want to say it was not Pentair. I know it wasn't Pentair. It was, anyway. Those are the stories. I love when people have a story to tell me about that child, because I know who he was, and to know that other people knew who he was is important. Yeah.
I get that so much.
Yeah.
How do you keep your son's memory alive in your daily lives?
Well, he has now, his daughter is 15.
Oh, wow.
She'll be 15 next month.
Okay.
That's crazy. So she is definitely reason, if nothing else, to make sure that, I want to always make sure that she remembers him. I made her a picture book so that she can always look and see their memories together. Because together they were like a pea and like two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
It was, and like when I think about it, I never want to force her but I always want to be there and be open for her to express herself, one, but also to talk about it with her too. Because sometimes she's like in question mode, like where she's got a million questions, and sometimes she's like, that's not what I'm talking about today. And that's okay. But we are, I think, in keeping that memory alive, for me, it's always about not shying away. Now there are some days, there's songs that I can't listen to. Like, there's just songs I ain't even going there. There's songs that I can't listen to, but every now and then I'm like, you know what? I need to remember what that felt like. I want to be in that place. I'll play that song intentionally, and Lord knows it's been a year since I played that song. And but when I do, it's because I feel like I need. I'm probably feeling guilty. I'm probably at that point of, ooh, I didn't think about Jay. Like I did X, Y, and Z, and did I think of, like, I feel like my whole day is, like, my life is entwined with, because it's my child.
Yes.
I do find myself, like, where, like, we might do something, and I'm like, what would Jay do? Like, if Jay was here, he would be with us for this. But then there's moments where I'm like, I'll do something, and I don't think about it as, like, I feel guilty because I did something I didn't think, what would it be like to have Jay here doing this? I've got to come to terms with the fact that it's okay to miss a person, it's okay to grieve a person, but it's also okay to keep moving.
Okay, so if your son could speak today, what do you think he want people to know about living like the Fools?
Don't make stupid decisions.
Yeah. Listen.
Everybody ain't your friend. Your parents have your best interests at heart.
I asked him one time, I said, how many times did you tell you? He said, my daddy said, this is what I said. Understand, and I think you would tell them. Your parents are only telling you this because they've been there, they've done it, they lived it. And it's for you not to make the same mistakes that they did. So I think that's what I think he would say.
Well, I sure thank you all so much. That was the end of my interview. And I thank you, Ashanti, and I thank you, Brian, for everything that you talked about with your son. And I did ask if y'all don't mind, can you give encouraging words to people, that's even going through grief or loss of their child or, anyone.
I would say too many of us, and I've heard this said, I've heard this, I don't know how many times over the last year or so. Do not be afraid, especially us as men. Do not be afraid to seek counseling. Go to counseling, go to therapy, and get some help if you need.
Yeah. I think we as, you say as men, but I say as Black people, especially, there's a stigma. Therapy holds a stigma. And it's not even valid. So it's like, I always say God created therapists. It's like, look, whatever you need is there, but it's there because He allowed it to be. And so there's so many resources. Don't hesitate to reach out. Because sometimes I think, okay, did we use all of what was available? No, we know we didn't. But I say, if you feel like, okay, I'm not going anywhere, or I've been stuck in the same place too long, talk to somebody, because you can help yourself just like other people can help you, but sometimes you just need a little help to get beyond. So I always say, pray, talk to Jesus, but also seek counseling.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you all again. I sure appreciate you all so much. This is Beating All the Odds. And again, I'm your host, Serena Brooks. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.